and welcome to Rapids Rant. I'm Don Pablo, taking you through everything Colorado Rapids, some MLS, and everything that is the 2024 season. The triathlon, as Rapids coach Chris Armas calls it. Coming up on today's show, no Rapids game this week. They got a little rest, although there is some Rapids players with good news. Some business talk. Miami and elsewhere. Getting you ready for the Leagues Cup with the Rapids. It's not a return trip. It's a second trip out to Portland on the season. And then whatever else I think to talk about here, the nonsense that comes out of my brain. Some philosophical, some, maybe nonsensical. But, talking it out is one way of learning, right? And you always try to learn something, as also Armas says, although it was a personal goal of mine, I like to relate it to Rapids coach, who, and I wanted to start this off real quick. Rapids, your 2024 Rocky Mountain Cup winners. Come from behind, by the way. Another one. And that turned the Rapids July into pretty successful. And they got a break. They got a little break. They got a rest. Bad parts, LAFC game. Kevin Cabral with his injury and a red card against the Galaxy game. And then he broke his arm. He played the rest of the first half, though. That's hardcore. Although he will be out until basically the last week of the season when the Rapids go to Austin, October 20th. So we'll see if he even plays there. But that is yet to be seen, of course. Anyway, let's get back to some positive things. And I don't think the Rapids have put that many post-game speeches into in public anyway. So after winning his first trophy with the Rapids, Coach Armas was shown in the locker room. They put it on ColoradoRapids.com. And I really hope this works on the Zoom meeting where we record the podcast. If not, you can find us live on YouTube, live on Twitch. Easy. You can actually, it's not Rapids Rant, it's Mountain Time Sports Report. Mountain Time Sports Report, YouTube and Twitch. You can find our podcasts on any podcast service for the Rapids as far as that goes. Rapids Rant. Just search Rapids Rant on any podcast, and you'll find us, and you'll find me and the cast of characters that fill out the Rapids Rant universe. But Coach was so excited. They went down to the south end in front of the supporter section, the entire team after the match against Salt Lake. And, they threw the trophy up in the air. They were, getting pictures with it. Fans were there. They changed the ribbons to Colorado Rapids colors, of course. And it's just building. And last year at this point, the team was kind of broken, right? So it could only go up from here. And from that point anyway. So I was just excited, man, and I like watching these kind of speeches, and you don't get to see that many. You don't get to see certainly halftime speeches unless it's, comes out on some television show, later in the year, or if it's, Hard Knocks NFL, which is on HBO. And, and that's fun because you see inside the locker room a little bit. Although they know the cameras are there, so I don't know if they change, change how it goes. But in the world we have now with a lot of access and everything out there, social media and all that, I don't know. Maybe locker rooms are a little different than they used to be. But anyway, so Coach Armas. his speech in the locker room after winning Rocky Mountain Cup.
That's what winning looks like, guys. It wasn't lucky. You hung in there. That's when you get punched in the face, you get knocked down. Guys, that was not easy. And you earned that. We got the trophy. It stays here. We'll manage things this week. But, guys, we're going to keep this thing going. I'm so proud of you guys. And, man, what a fun group to coach, man. Thank you for that effort.
So there you go. There, Coach Artemis, I hope that came out okay. Still working out technical issues when I'm doing this stuff. I'm not the most computer literate guy, as I'm sure you people know. Longtime listeners of the show. Although I'm not stuck in radio, mode anymore. You got the camera out here, so I feel like that's big a part as anything. Although it is really dark here in this room. So anyway, doesn't matter for listening. So, man, I was just excited as a Rapids fan. Winning back the Rocky Mountain Cup. And we talked about it last year. And my go-to, motto saying was, as bad as this year is, when we win again, because the Rapids will win again, it's going to feel all that much better for the people that stuck it out. And, I do a show every week, so I stick it out. But I'm happy for the fans that, they got to see it. It was a sold-out stadium on July 20th, Dick's Sporting Goods Park. And I think it's the second or third time they've had a sellout this year. And I expect that more fans will be coming because, the Rapids, they're in fourth place. And they definitely deserve to be in fourth place. It's not a going up and down the standings thing. They deserve it. They're solid. Now they've beaten Salt Lake twice, who's in front of them in the standings. They beat LAFC. We get to play the Galaxy. They're playing the Galaxy at home again later in the season. So they definitely deserve to be in the top four in the Western Conference. Get that home playoff game. Maybe get on national TV again before too long. But I'm just saying, if there's expectations, and I try to ask them their expectations in public, and just for locker room bulletin board material, I guess they wouldn't talk about it. But it has to be more than this, because the calls and the matches that didn't necessarily go their way so far this season, that's at least 4 or 5 points, and it'll put us in third place, almost second place. But it looks like the MLS Cup, or at least the Western Conference Finals, is going to go through LA. Either BMO Stadium or Dignity Health Sports Park that LAFC and LA Galaxy play respectively. And we still got a couple weeks until we get back into the MLS regular season. So I just wanted to follow it up because, Rapids won the Rocky Mountain Cup, and I saw people complaining on Twitter, the Salt Lake fans, and I'm like, how is that a soft handball? Like you chicken winged, he put his arm out. That's soft? I don't know. I can see if it hits you on the top of the shoulder, but it wasn't that. It was farther down. Anyway, I don't think it was soft. And Rapids definitely deserved it. Cole got an assist and a goal. Sam Vines. Jonathan Lewis. They were all over the place. Those guys start contributing. And we need people to contribute because of Kevin Cabral's injury. So that brings me to the next point that I had, which was this is transfer season still, and the Rapids haven't done much. There was words that Bombito might be going to faraway country in Europe. We don't know. Transfer window ends August 8th, a week from Thursday, a week from their Leagues Cup opener. Is he going to be there? Are they going to stand pat, even though Kevin Cabral is out? Although Jonathan Lewis showed up, Sam Vine showed up in the last game. Jonathan Lewis has been better the last couple of weeks. He's reached out and found his stride. And can we ride that for a little bit? Are they going to add offense? Are they going to add defense? Are they going to stand pat? I don't know. It's been working so far this year, right? And, but other teams in the MLS have not, definitely. Salt Lake, they went out and found a defender. Vancouver Whitecaps released him. Javane Brown, Jamaican Reggae Boys defender, national team defender. LA Galaxy loaned Johnny Perez to Nashville. LAFC acquire midfielder Lewis O'Brien from Nottingham Forest. Minnesota United signed center back Jefferson Diaz, and that brings me to the Minnesota United Leagues Cup game, and we'll talk about Leagues Cup now. And MLS has done so much better than last year at Leagues Cup. And I remember they kind of got their hats handed to them last year, right? Rapids did. But elsewhere in the MLS, and one match that I couldn't believe it, San Jose, bottom of the table. And they take down it was 2 nights ago. Chivas and Levi Stadium in the 49er Stadium on penalty kicks. They were winning the entire game though until extra time. San Jose, they beat Chivas, the one of the Sharks, and I know that maybe they haven't done as well lately, but they're definitely one of the big teams in Mexico. So for San Jose to, surprise everybody, and then Portland, they beat León in Portland, and they're hosting the Rapids on Thursday night. Portland won 6 of 8, and they're streaking. We'll see if they have reached the top of where they're going. But elsewhere, Montreal beat San Luis. Oh yeah, Minnesota over Necaxa. Excuse me. 1-0, and they held on. They were down a man for 70 minutes. 70 minutes. So, Minnesota has the fight, and they weren't doing so well ever since the game against the Rapids when the Rapids came back and tied 3-3. But that's going to help their confidence and their motivation for beating, a Mexican team up in Minnesota. So there's that. Elsewhere, Austin shut out Monterrey. And then Vancouver goes into Los Angeles, and it was a 2-2 draw at the end of regulation, but they won on penalty kicks 4-2. So LAFC looked human. And Vancouver Whitecaps beat them. So yeah, man, the Western Conference the rest of the year is going to be as they say, dogfight. It's going to be rough. It's going to be close. Any given Sunday though, San Jose comes last in the league, and maybe Chivas was overlooking them a little bit, but San Jose went. Man, that's like, I hope that replaces their best win of the season, because I'm pretty sure their best win of the season was in Colorado over the Rapids a couple months ago. So we'll give them that. They beat Chivas. Rapids aren't the highlight of the season anymore. Anyway, and then some matches that are playing tonight. Another Mexican team goes down. Charlotte over Cruz Azul. Scoreless game. Charlotte wins on penalty kicks 4-2. And DC United shuts out Santos Laguna 3-0. Man, Mexico hasn't shown up ever since they played Uruguay, their national team at Mile High Stadium. And yeah, man, I saw some sad Mexico fans that night. Kind of felt bad for them, but Uruguay, I thought they did well. They made the Final Four of the Copa America, ultimately bowing out to the champ. Nope, they lost to. Oh man, who's the other team? Forgive me. They made the Final Four. Argentina won over Canada, of course. So, Mexico, man, what happened? What happened, Mexico, as Caberto would say? Maybe Caberto's going to start claiming United States now after this poor showing of Mexican teams, although they're doing pretty good tonight. Juarez has a 1-0 lead in Dallas, and Mazatlan has a 2-0 lead in Nashville. So after Cruz Azul, man, I don't know. I hope the Rapids can capitalize on whatever Portland was doing to Leon and get a victory here next week. That game's Monday night, Dick's Sporting Goods. Some Monday Night Football, if you will. But yeah, I couldn't find like a Leagues Cup like bracket or like I don't know. So and yeah, there's the standings. So City FC looks like they're through. Nope, so let me just share this screen. Looks like Miami, without Suarez or Messi, they won their group game. Tigres and Puebla are playing right now. Yeah, they're tied at 1. So it looks like Miami just need a point to get through. Elsewhere, the Revolution, by the way, they're first in their group, East number 5. I don't think anybody's clinched. No, Austin is definitely clinched. Austin won both their group games. 6 points. Puma 0. Monterrey 0. Dang. Good job, Austin. San Jose, they have 2 points. No, they should have. I thought they won. Like what? Oh, they just get an extra point for the win? Interesting. That's like USL, MLS Next Pro. St. Louis and Juarez tied. So it looks like Dallas needs to win that game over Juarez, which they're in the 66th minute. So Dallas needs to make something happen, and they're probably going to be out. It's weird that other teams already have played their 2 matches before Colorado even plays their first one. But whatever. So, yeah, Portland, 3 points. Colorado and Leon 0s. Anybody else through? Looks like LAFC is through. They are on their 4 points. 5 goals. LFC, Tijuana, 0. Atlas, 3 points in the 8th Western Division. So there's that. And because we can look at the bracket here. Who has clinched their spot? Club America. Oh, yeah. Club America and Columbus automatically go through. But other than that, Austin, DC United. And it looks like that's it so far. Dang. Well, so there's Leagues Cup, man. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see what happens. I hope the Rapids go farther than they did last year. Of course, but I don't know. So, and if Rapids get a vacation, there's not much going on around here that I could even talk about the Rapids. But there's other news in MLS. I told you some about the transfer, and the Rapids just have questions. And I don't know. People were talking about Moyes. They said there was negotiations with Lyon in France. We'll see where that goes. We don't know. There's still mutual interest is the last thing I heard. So what is if that means next week or that means end of the year? Who knows? But there's some more interesting news that came out of MLS this week, and that was there's a lawsuit that the Miami Dolphins owner, that he doesn't have anything to do with MLS. Stephen Ross down in Miami, he wanted some Spanish teams, and one was Barcelona, to come play a La Liga game in Miami. And they have their preseason tours now, but those are just exhibitions. They don't count for anything. But he wanted an actual regular season match, which is it can't be a Barcelona home game. It has to be whoever they're playing home game, right? Because Barcelona wouldn't give up that home. Think about a college football team. Barcelona wouldn't give up that home date. CU Buffs. They always wanted the CSU game to be in Boulder because they're going to make more money. It's better for the local economy and all that. But the confederations, CONCACAF and what's the one in UEFA? Excuse me. They wouldn't let them do it, and MLS had a big problem with it. And is it because they're not getting a piece of that pie? I don't know. But you think they could? You think they could work together? You think Spain? MLS, quote unquote, doesn't have anything to do with United States Soccer Federation. But I was thinking, and it's in radio, you have the national radio guys, every branded big radio station, NBC or CBS has radio, whatever. So, and Denver would be an affiliate. Miami would be an affiliate. Obviously, Miami has MLS games. So the big national guys come to your town. They usually do their radio show a couple times from that town, that city, where they have a show or whatever kind of appearance lined up. And they usually hook up the local place with tickets. They work with them because the local place will then promote them even more harder than just their radio show. Obviously, and and by the way, you're gonna sell more tickets and get promoted even more than just everyday thing, because you have your regular listeners, and obviously you want to sell to them, but putting your promos on another time where you don't have your guys that listen to you for an hour, 3 hours a day, it's even more marketing. So usually the national guys work with them on the event, and everybody's happy. Everybody gets their taste, as some people say. So it's weird that MLS doesn't want to do it, to me. And I was trying to think their reasons. They don't want to get shown. I don't think they're not going to have a team based in the United States. I think just have just a regular season match played here. Although they've been talking about putting a NFL team in London for many years. NFL team maybe in Barcelona. And by the way, who was in charge of NFL Europe? Who is in charge of bringing the number one sport in the United States to Europe? It'll be Don Garber. Don Garber was in charge of NFL Europe, which ultimately folded, but they still can do one-off games, and the NFL exhibit. Now they're regular season games now. They had exhibitions, now they have regular season games. They're very popular. London, Germany got their first one last year, and they'll be getting more. So it's weird that he doesn't want. It's I can do it. I can go to your place to do it, but you can't come here. But you think that MLS could figure out a way to make some money off of having a super team from Spain come, or an English Premier League match. Because the English Premier League, don't they take teams from like the United Kingdom, not just England, and then, but they're not going to take a team from the United States, right? Like I don't know, but it's weird. A guy that worked internationally for all those years, separating, oceans and leagues and continents, is not down for this. So, just rambling off the top of my head to bring it back and talking it out. Stephen Ross, the Dolphins owner, is trying to, he was trying to get a Spain game, but then he also tried to get in Spain, maybe that was like the big picture, the big shot, like the big, big goal. Okay, he said, okay, no, not going to do that. Okay, fine. Then he went to Ecuador and just wanted 2 Ecuadorian teams. And yeah, the MLS said no. Soccer Federation, CONCACAF said no. They're not doing that. And I'm like, well, what's the fan base for Ecuador? Like, why? What does that hurt? But I don't know. You think that we play, especially because Mexico plays many national team games here. It was called the Mex Tour, and it was cool. And a lot of we don't go there. We don't go to Mexico unless we have to play the Hex game or some kind of qualifier. We don't go to Guatemala or Honduras or Panama unless we have to play. They come here. So you think that businessman wise, and I'm sure there's a reason that I don't know or I can't think of, that they wouldn't want to get some money. Like is it because businessman, they just is what's in it for me? If there's nothing in it for you, then he owns the rules. It's his house, and he said no. So Stephen Ross, maybe it's a billionaires lawsuit fight, which the only people that win in the end are lawyers, right? Lawyers are bankers, but anyway. So I was thinking about that. And even if the game's in Miami, which is, a couple time zones away from here in Denver, I don't know, maybe Kroenke owns Arsenal. Get a English Premier League match here. Although just like going over there messes up people's time zones and sleep schedules and airplane, jet lag. I'm sure the same thing will happen if they come over here and then go back. Maybe it'd have to be at the beginning of an international break or something like that. But I absolutely think that Kroenke should do that. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that lawsuit. And maybe Garber's just mad because Stephen Ross doesn't want to buy an MLS team. Although he's definitely rich enough to. Although he owns the Dolphins. Well, they haven't won a playoff game since, 90s, right? The 1990s? Whatever. Elsewhere in Miami. Speaking of Miami, by the way. Supporter Shield leaders. They will not be moving to their new stadium next year. They're getting another year to build the Miami Freedom Park. 25,000 seats. They told their season ticket holders last week that it would be their last, even though the goal was next year and everybody knew it was next year to be in the stadium. So now they're getting another year. And it's going to be like where the Dolphins play, that one side is going to be in the sun and one side is going to be in the shade. But I presume they'll put the players in the shade so they don't heat them out. But anyway, how long has Inter Miami been back? They're finally getting their new stadium. City's finally going to get their new stadium, but I don't think they start until 2026 over there, 2027. But another couple soccer-specific venues. Although this Chase Stadium was where Miami plays now, it was where the Fort Lauderdale Strikers played, so they're not even in Miami. Close, but Anyway, David Beckham was trying to get one on the water down there. He was trying to get one where the cruise ships docked, and then I think where the Orange Bowl was. But they found a place, so good for them. David Beckham, presumably they're trying to win the Leagues Cup and just the MLS Cup this year. So although that'll be a very nice televised area if Miami could host the MLS Cup this year, that'd be fun because that didn't happen anywhere. Rapids won in the frozen tundra that is Toronto. Toronto had nothing to do with the playing of the MLS. Anyway, so Rapids are going into Portland. And by the way, this is Rapids Rant. I am Don Pablo, your host. Thank you for indulging me in the talking of why, these other stadiums. And the thing is, I like to talk it out, and I like the business part. I like the business parts of sports, right? And I appreciate you. If you want to listen for those tidbits, that's fun. I could talk about the Rapids, all day, but if you listen to the show, I'll just be repeating myself, and nobody wants that, right? Like, and that's the thing about spoken word is it's you can't repeat yourself all the time, right? Like it's when they say like music bands, all you want to do is go to their shows year after year to hear the hits. But like spoken word guys, spoken word comedians, or humorists, or speech motivational speakers, you got to change your material. Anyway, so there's that. So talking it out, plus things that are happening in a couple of years, we'll see. Georgie scored. I was at training when Georgie scored. Very exciting. Georgie scored versus Guinea to send the United States to the quarterfinals. They're in the medal rounds. U.S. Olympic team for the first time since the year 2000. Georgie's second goal of the tournament, and he hit a upper corner, like beat the goal. It was pretty hot. It was pretty hot, that goal. And yeah, we'll see what happens again. If he can come back with a medal, that'd be an awesome year. That'd be an awesome year for him. A good consolation for not being there for the Rocky Mountain Cup is to get a gold medal, silver, whatever. Although rooting for that. So yeah. I am Don Pablo. This is Rapids Rant. You can follow us on Twitter at Rapids Rant. Or you can follow us on Twitch and YouTube, Mountain Time Sports Report, the Mountain Time Sports Report. And it's a daily show, weekday show, excuse me. We just talk about sports in the Mountain Time Zone, how that affects our lives, and the important parts of what's going down. So we'll see there. You can find us on Twitch and YouTube at the same place, or Instagram and Twitter, Mountain Time Sports Report, Rapids Rant. And and the reason I've been so busy this week is because I don't know if you know, some people don't follow politics, but that's been a little crazy here lately. So I've been doing that a lot, messing around with that. But we don't get too political. I'm talking about, I just talked about stadiums and lawsuits and stuff, although it's sports bent, right? So whatever. Anyway, rooting for Portland. It was the Rapids' only national TV game on the season. And, people, when they watched it, same old Rapids, first half, 4-0, same old Rapids. And we talked about back then was Rapids won the second half, right? We won the second half. Well, the Portland took them a while to get adjusted to their new manager, Neville. And I was watching training this week, and you kind of see what their plan was. I'm not giving anything away, but the fun part to going to training and watching what they work on is you kind of see what's going to happen before it happens. And that's fine with me. I like it. I like being in the know. And that's where you really learn, not just watching the games, watching training and seeing where they're lined up and such. And understanding, by the way, I know why we're so good we were so good at set pieces. And when Georgie scored on a set piece in the Olympics a couple of days ago, yeah, I mean, exactly why. I'm not saying he didn't know beforehand or he doesn't, but they practice that stuff. And Cook and Little, man, those guys. Yeah. So Rapid, and that's the other thing this season. Rapid's back on their game with the set pieces and all that. So the only thing I'm thinking is Salt Lake tried to take advantage of some long shots from distance. Leon was doing that to Portland. I'm a little worried, but I'm sure the Rapids have seen that and watched the match, and they're prepared from the shots from distance, from the long range. So we'll see. Rapids, Armas, his tactics are outstanding, and he's changed things up on the fly a lot. And the other thing I would be worried about is conceding first. The Rapids have conceded first a bunch of times in a row even, and they did come back against Salt Lake. They tied another team that I have to look up, but they're doing good. But I don't know, man. That's a slippery slope, right? So you got to watch out for that. But I think the only game that they kind of were embarrassed about this year was that Portland first half. And now in the end of July, they can right that ship. They can get a little revenge. They can show that they're a better team now. And I hope that's going to happen tomorrow. Cole Bassett's been on fire. John Lewis has been on fire. And Sam Vines even got in the mix last week. So in our defense, Bombito's back. Lawless is there. Keegan's been doing well. And Maxu's just a solid bro, man. He's just solid. That is all. And some people's families were at training last week, 2 weeks ago. And they were talking about being in Yellowstone. And then the very next day, one of the geysers in Yellowstone, exploded, and it hadn't erupted like that for, I think they said 100 years or something. And yeah, that would have been scary, because I've been to Yellowstone. I was asking them, did you guys do some, people like doing the cliff diving, and some of it's dangerous, of course, but some of them are not as bad. So I asked them if they did that, and they were like, no. And then I'm like, did you see people get out of their cars? Because that's the only other thing other than the majestic scenery that entertains me as a Coloradoan, as a guy who's been to many national parks and seen animals up close. Did you see people get out of their cars? They're like, yes. And I'm like, I would yell at them, but would you yell at them? And they were like, nah. I'm like, all right, you guys are more polite than me. But yeah, people get out of their cars to take pictures of pet the ant. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. And especially moose. And ask those travelers if there was moose where they are. And they're like, no. I'm like, did you see moose? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, they look cool, but they're like koalas, man. Don't mess with them. They'll mess you up. An angry moose will mess you up worse. Whatever. All right. I think I've done enough here. Rapids going to Portland Thursday night, Leagues Cup opener 2024. And, this is the second time they played them, although it was, in February. We'll see what happens. They've been doing pretty well on these second times they've seen teams now, whereas the first couple months, the first couple times they saw a team for the second time, they got their butts in. That was the San Jose matchup that I was talking about earlier, and the Salt Lake second match they played there. Anyway, I think I will be back for another Rapids rant before the Leon matchup next week. Excited to go to that game, Leagues Cup. Allegedly, I might be taking some pictures on field side before the match, with some training or warm-ups anyway. I'm excited for that because I usually don't do that. So, get some pictures, And be close up, get the focus, because you kind of get that when the players are warming up and all that. So anyway, this is Rapid Rant. I want to thank you for watching / listening. We're on Twitch and YouTube. Rocky Mountain Sports Report. Rapid Rant is a part of Rocky Mountain Sports Report. I would like to thank host emeritus Caberto Villa, son of Pancho. And if you've listened this far, God bless you. Don't forget, take care of yourselves and each other. Go Rapids, beat Portland.